Now we're in an era where, okay, what do you think? What do you have to say? Who are you amidst all of the noise? And can you really clearly identify yourself?
Well, hey, welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And you guys, I am so stoked for this episode because Ashley Mansour is in the house. She is a favorite book author in the high performance community. She's a coach, for authors. She's an author herself. She is outstanding, and we had the opportunity to get to know each other a little bit in a high performance incubator. We've been in actually a couple of programs together, and the vibe is high. Like, not to put you on the spot or anything, Ashley, but holy crap, I'm excited you're here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I am so stoked to talk to your people and to talk with you, Amanda.
Oh my gosh, so good. So, Ashley, why don't you take 30 seconds to introduce yourself the way you'd like to be introduced? I just get so excited about what you do. It's like, y'all, she's such the real deal. Just follow her.
You're so sweet. Well, so as Amanda said, I am an author coach. I help lead people through the writing process from idea to bestseller, and then beyond that, to the legacy building piece of your book, to the leverage building piece of how are you going to leverage your book into your business. So many things that I want coaches and experts to think about. So that's what I'm there to do. A lot of people ask you, are you a ghostwriter? And the answer is no. What I do is I empower authors to actually write their own book from their authenticity, from their own place of experience and expertise. So that's what I'm all about, and I love to get to do it.
Love that. Dear listener, the thing that I really appreciate about Ashley that is so special is she makes writing a very good book accessible but not casual. So, I think there's a lot of book coaches out there that, they figured out the process, and, they're a bit casual about it, and they're pumping out the pages. And what I love about your approach, Ashley, is that you've really thought of every obstacle that a serious author is going to encounter, and you have a great process and a great solution to handle each one of those things. And just shameless plug, she handed me, we were at a live event recently, and she like shoved into my hands really quickly a copy of her latest book, The Author's Success Code, which I devoured. And I was like, wow, there's so many practical steps here. So, Ashley, I'm just, if you don't mind sharing with us, like, why do this? Why guide people through this? And it is a pretty competitive market you've chosen. So, like, why? Why put up with it?
Oh man, it's such a brilliant question. It takes me back to my own journey as author because all these obstacles that I coach on and that I've tried to solve the problem of, I encountered myself. Like I faced those obstacles, and more often than not, I tripped over and I fell and I failed, quote unquote, failed, right? And I had to find my footing and figure it out. So, everything that I love to teach aspiring authors and work with them on, experts, coaches, consultants, professionals, I have been there. I have endured the challenge. And so, it's like I felt the pain, and this is what keeps me coming back because I love the idea that I can make this faster and easier for other people and bring them joy in the process. So,
Yeah.
that's what
And
keeps
it's
me.
good.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good. Y'all, I hesitate to rave so much because I don't really want to turn you off of it. And also, Ashley has worked with many of my friends, and I've just seen like the books that they've produced, the caliber of the content that they produced through this process. I really do feel was extraordinary. And so I am really curious, like, we're in 2025 having this conversation. It's all about AI these days. It's all about the technology. It's all about what's hot. And, can you walk me through like why prioritize book writing now? Why is that so important?
I think it's a really important time to lean into your own authenticity and what makes you unique, because we are in an era now where you're right, AI is becoming this incredible, intelligent amazing resource and tool that anyone can use. And if you're really smart about it, AI can do a lot of things for you that takes a lot of time off your plate. And one of those things people tend to think is it can write my book, it can market for me, it could be my lawyer, my doctor, like all these things it can do. And to a degree, yes. But that's why I think it's so important that now you own your own unique, authentic voice, story, message, and you architect that for yourself. So rather than just sitting back and like waiting for AI to deliver it to you, you actually play an active role in your story and your brand building, because I think it's the brand builders, the individuals, they're going to lead us. They're going to be the ones that stand out from the noise and from all of this, what they call the AI slop, the AI slush that just gets created, and all this content and mass that is available to anyone to make, right? Everyone's got access to the tools. So it's like now we're in an era where, okay, what do you think? What do you have to say? Who are you amidst all of the noise? And can you really clearly identify yourself? And I think that's where the book has this incredible power to set you apart from others and let people know I am an authority. I have studied this stuff. I have helped people get results. Here's what I am known for best. And to put it out there and say, this is my thing. This is my area of expertise. This is what I know, or this is my story and my message. That has such a power to it. A power that I think lives beyond the real, the story, these disappearing contents that they're there, they're gone, they're there, they're gone. And they have such a short life cycle, whereas the book has such a long life cycle if we really construct it in the right way. So I think there's so many good reasons why we want to elevate ourselves through the book writing process. And, I would say to a lot of people, like, put yourself to the test. What do you have to share? And really ask yourself, can I help people in the medium of a book? Because more often than not, you'll find the answer is yes. Like there's something very valuable within all of us that could live beyond us in the pages of a book. If we only opened our minds to it and said, yes, let me do that thing.
I really love that, thinking about the book as being this test of like the cohesion of your knowledge, like being able to like pull ideas together and string them together into a structure that makes sense and that flows through the book. I thought that was so interesting what you said about brand and the rise of the need for like that personal brand. Have to say, just my own metrics, the things I've seen over the past year with organic content, it's getting more expensive to even do free content because of the AI slop and because of the just the prolific nature of that content.
Yes.
Can you talk to me a little bit about your perspective on what does it actually mean to have a brand? Like if you
That's
like if
so
you're really
good.
looking at branding, because I feel like a lot of the stuff that a lot of entrepreneurs hear about, it's direct response natured marketing, the fastest path to cash kind of marketing. But
Yeah.
brand is generally a longer play, and I'd love your take on, what is it and how does the book help you with it?
Brilliant question. Well, I think brand, to me, when I think of brand, I can't think of brand without thinking of value. Brand has value associated, and brand has expertise associated, and brand has longevity associated. All the brands that occupy our minds on a day to day. Like when you think of travel, you think of a travel brand. Maybe you think of, Airbnb, or you think of TripAdvisor, whatever. Like you think of a brand. And as people, I think we have the ability to create branding associated with ourselves that sets us apart. One of those key things is who are you? What do you do? And what credentials do you have? Author being one of the ones that tends to be the most highly respected. So it's like, why not attach that to your name? Why not elevate your brand status with something like a book? That's how I think about it. So it's kind of the answer to the question, what are you known for? What work do you do in the world? And I always go back to the classic of the Google test. If you Google someone before they start writing the book, what comes up? Yes, there's social media, sure, a few articles and some content that they've written, maybe a blog, great. But when you create a work that is long standing, like a book, a film, a TV show, a product, you get listed in a different way by the search engines. So your brand takes on a new life, even just there. So my authors before and after the book, before, they're not really ranking in the search engines. After the book, Google, whatever other search engine, it's going to come up as author identified, and it's going to collate and curate their content in a completely different way. So now they're kind of like showing up in the world as an authority. So it's like that transference, that difference there is what I think of when I think of brand. How you show up in the world, who you are, what you're known for.
So good. So good. And honestly, been a huge part of my own hesitation around a book, right? Is because I want it to be, I want it to be a book that I am really proud of publishing. And I want it to be a book that is, going to be reflective of what I'm very likely going to still be saying in 5 years, because it really is like that longer life cycle. So it, personally just kind of taken a beat, because when I very first started as an expert and a coach, independent of the consulting company that I used to work for, I had a lot of people come up to me and say, "Oh, you should write a book. You should write a chapter in this best-selling book." Can you talk to us a little bit about how is this done wrong? Like how do people not do the book? And there's of course like the not doing it thing, right? And I have self-published some books, but I haven't gone all the way through to, getting published in, directories like Amazon,
Yeah.
and things like that, because I do want to make sure that when I go there and I'm showing, I want to be differentiated from those, pay to play, compilation books that, let's be real, not too many people are actually picking up and reading.
Yeah, that's the whole thing of the book that is yours, that you own, and you construct from that standpoint. It's a completely different tool. I think there is validity to different types of anthologies and stuff like that, but often what they just don't help the author achieve their goals, because look, if there's 30 chapters, 30, 40 authors, it's not your name on the cover, and you don't have the real estate for that to really make any tangible difference. You also, one chapter isn't enough to persuade and convert your reader into the next thing with you. They really need to be there for the entire journey of the book. So absolutely, like that is one way I think people kind of do themselves a little bit of a disservice by thinking that that's the answer. I think it's a great starting point. It's a great test of, can I participate in a book project and what does that look like? But there is a real difference between owning the entire book and having just a piece of a slice of the pie, right? It's a different project. So you're thinking around it in terms of like it's a big deal, it's a big book, I think is absolutely right, and you do want to do it the right way. And a lot of people overthink that and get very hung up on all the things involved in it, and I get it, because as an author myself, like I understand the overthinking, I understand the need for the book to serve you in a variety of ways, and it's kind of like a lot of my type A's, my type A clients that are very, control driven, perfectionists, they want to do it right and it means something to them. And I think that's wonderful. Like that's a great care to have for the project. But at the same time, you also have to embrace some kind of element of imperfection, and recognizing like to get it done, you have to be willing to just kind of go and create that momentum. But the desire for everything you're saying, I think that's totally normal, and it's part of authorship, because you care about what you do, you care about your brand, care about your people, and I think you want to do it right, and that's out of respect for your readers too. So absolutely. But yeah, there's a book in there, Amanda. There's that big book in there. I know there is for sure.
There for sure is. There for sure is. And, you're making me think of a presentation I saw Rachel Hollis do a few years ago. She wrote the book Girl Wash Your Face, and it was like this global phenomenon. Like it was a crazy bestseller. And one of the things she said from stage when she was recounting the story, she said, "That was my sixth published book." Like, it wasn't the very first time she sat down with a pen and paper. It was the sixth time she really took a crack at it. And she's actually published several books since then that have not had nearly the outcome carriage that the Girl Wash Your Face really had. But that always really stuck with me. It's like, author really, and even the way you're speaking about it, author is an identity. It's this identity, and it means that, that first book, it's your first book, right? How many books are you going to write? What topics are you going to own and really cover? And when I think about 2025 and the people that are going to set apart, I'm going to tell you right now, like a lot of the gold rush marketers, the people that are going like way after the cash as soon as possible, screw the relationship, just give me money, right? Like they're going to do the AI slop. They're going to give, I always think of marketing and expertise a little like an ice cream sundae, right? You have the possibility of a bowl of vanilla, right? And vanilla is available everywhere. It's, really just like it's vanilla ice cream. It's fine. Like you would probably accept it if that was what was available for dessert. Or you can head on into a marble slab and you can get like all the different kinds of ice cream with all the different toppings and like do something that's really unique and interesting and custom
Yes.
to your experience. And I think that that's a really big opportunity that every expert has, not just with the book, but just in general. Like, what are you bringing to the table that is distinctive? What do you want to be known for? Are you vanilla? Which, by the way, AI is going to give you the average answer. Even if you push it and you put all these extra prompts into it, it's still going to give you the average. So, like, what's going to be extraordinary about your approach and your results? And just realizing you're not in it for the transaction, you're in it for the connection and the relationship in the long term. And that's what the big brands know. Like, they're going to be patient with that process. So if somebody was thinking about doing a book or prioritizing a book this year, what would you say would be one of the things they can do? Obviously, we'll have all your links below so they can check you out. But like, even if they like never see you again and you were to just give them a few steps to sketch out on the calendar of like things you got to prioritize, what would you say?
The number one thing you need to prioritize is clarity and really answering for yourself 3 questions related to your book. I guarantee you they are so simple and you have not asked yourself these questions. Once you do, your whole universe of what the book is going to change and your ideas will get really put into focus. So you need to get that clarity first. 3 questions, okay? I'm going to give them to you. The first one is, who is the book for? Who is my ideal reader? Who is my target audience? And like really dial that person in the same way you would approach it in your business. You need to do that in your book. Please, please. Like I hear so many people go, my book is for everybody, or my book is for anyone who, or anybody. It's like, listen, take out the words everybody, anybody, somebody, people, individuals, none of that. Because it's for a very specific person and it's for a very specific individual that is experiencing something and in their life, their business, their parenting, their health, like figure out what that is and get into their head. Think about the psychographics of that person. That's who the book is for. And get specific. I push my authors so hard, like be specific. Who are you writing this for? Identify that reader. Second question is, what is the book about? What is your big idea? What is the hook? What's the through line? What journey are you taking this reader on? And I think a lot of people start out with this idea to tell their story. They'll say, I just want to tell my story. I have a great story. You won't believe my life I've lived. I just want to tell a story. And I think that's wonderful. I think it's wonderful to think about your story and the experiences you've had. But bigger than that, it's actually like, how does my story serve others? How do the life lessons that I've learned, that I've gleaned through my experience, how is that going to serve other people? It's not just you're telling your story, pushing that on your audience. It's more about, how is my story here to serve? And once you get that layer, then you start understanding your book in a completely different way. And that's part of brand building right there, is going, how is this in connection to what other people need, not just what I want to be saying,
Yeah, no, I see
pontificating
it
to my
all the time.
audience.
It makes me go like, wait, you need more training. Yeah, no, I see it all the time. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the book about? And then your last question is, why does it matter? Why is this a must read and a must write? So we think about the must read, it's got to be a page turner, but we often don't think about why is it a must write for me? Like, why this book above all the other ideas that might be in my mind right now? Like, why this book? And it's so important to get clear on that, because if you can't answer the why for yourself, how are you going to make a case to your reader to engage in the reading experience? You don't know why you're writing it. They don't know why they're reading it. It's like you want to dial those pieces in. It really is. This is a journey that's not for everybody. Would I love every human to write a book? For sure. It'll make you a better human. It'll make you a better everything. But I also know not everyone has the level of willingness to ask these questions and get really deep. They want the easy, well, I just want to tell my story. I just want to help people. It's like, but yeah, but specifically how? Like, connect those dots before you start. And if you answer those questions in a journal exercise and free writing, that's the number one thing. You have to start with that. And if you start with those three questions, your whole world will open up of what the possibility is for this book. That's where you always begin, right there.
Love that. You know, excellence is not easy, but it's also not impossible, and I just love your approach. Ashley, what is the best way for people to follow you?
My goodness, get on my Instagram at Ashley Writes. I post tips, I do classes, and you'll find me right there. That's where all the best stuff is there. I mean, I'm on the other spaces too, but if you get me on the Insta, that's where I'll be.
That's where the magic happens. I love it. And we'll make sure that we have all of Ashley's links in the show notes so you can always visit there to find out some more. And hey, listener, if you heard something that will really help one of your aspiring author friends, or even an author that's got another book left in them, make sure you grab the link to this episode and you send it to them on text or through DM so that they can get to enjoy this conversation. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and leave a review. We work really hard to bring the very best content to you, and we'd love an honest review on the show. It helps people find us. And Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Amanda. I love being here.
Amazing. And listener, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in another episode, and until then, do what matters.